it going? We really want to make this video for Riley when she's a little bit older, and just so we have like the memory of how she came into this world. It was the best day ever. I think the days before were not, but yeah. Do you want to start?
So it all
He's a good storyteller. Way better.
Started Friday morning at 4 a.m.
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Kelsey wakes up with contractions, and she, I think she woke me up at 4.
Yeah, I think so too.
And
She started timing them.
She said she talked to the nurse, midwife, and just kind of explained what was going on, and she said, yeah, these seem pretty normal. Make sure you're keeping track of them and let me know when they get closer together.
And that was at 7 a.m. and the contractions were already 5-1-1, so they were like 5 minutes apart, lasting 1 minute for an hour, and it was like that from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. So I thought that we were going to go in shortly after that, but that was not the case. And I'm really glad that I read Cynthia Gabriel's Natural Hospital Birth, because she talked about how your labor can really start to peter out if you're feeling feelings of like disappointment or anxiousness, any kind of emotion that is negative, I guess, in a sense, that can really slow your labor. So it did. And like I remember it did not like keep going that way. It really started to stop being consistent, and so we went on like 5 30-minute walks, I think. A lot of walks.
Pretty much every time we got back to 5-1-1s, we'd call the midwife and she'd say, no, you're not there yet. And
yeah.
Kelsey's...
She was like, you need to intensify and turn the corner. And I was the one that was talking to her at that point, so I was like, the next time I call, it needs to be Luke. You need to call, because she thinks that since I can still talk, that these aren't bad.
Yeah, so like the thought, or her being told that it wasn't it, kind of set her back, and contractions slowed and kind of got further apart and everything, so that's why we were going on walks. And
yeah, we did curb walking, so I was like literally this huge pregnant woman like balancing on the curb up and down, and it looked ridiculous. But I remember we called at 5 p.m. and I still was the one talking, I think, but she suggested doing the mile circuit, which is basically a 90-minute circuit. Luke looked it up on his phone and just told me what to do, and I was really disappointed after that phone call. I just remember feeling super emotional and like, man, this baby is never gonna come. I had been in labor for over 12 hours at that point, and it just felt like it was forever, and the contractions were manageable but still like painful, so I just felt like, man, I don't know if I can continue to do this. And so yeah, we tried the mile circuit, and it basically is a 90-minute circuit with 3 separate exercises that are 30 minutes long, and it's to get your baby in good position. And if your baby's not in good position, that could be why your labor is not progressing also. So the first exercise is like the cat-cow position. So you do cat-cow a couple times for like maybe 2 minutes, and then you stay in cat so that your pelvis is in the air and your forehead is basically to the ground. And this helps the baby like fall out of your pelvis and realign themselves to be in good position to come out. And this definitely is where things, I feel like, turn the corner. Like I remember, oh my gosh, Piper, crying on the ground in so much pain, because as she was falling out, the contractions were like forcing her back up. So it was just super painful to have her jostle between my pelvis, and yeah, I was just feeling like, oh my gosh, I cannot continue to do this if this isn't helping. Like I'm gonna not have the baby. I don't know what I thought. But then the second exercise is an exaggerated side lying position in your bed. So your left leg is up by your heart. You're laying on your left side, and your right leg is fully extended straight. And this helps the baby just really get forced back down into your pelvis to come out perfect. So the goal is to be at 0+1 station. And I was in a ton of pain doing that too, but I was motivated. And at that point, my mom and my sisters were on their way over to our house to help and to possibly come to have the baby, I guess. So I started doing the third exercise where you do lunges up and down the stairs. And at that point I was like so heavy and so, I think just exhausted from the day because I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I was having to like hoist my leg up each stair. So it was really physically exerting, even though it's just lunging. Yeah, it was getting crazy at that point. So my mom and my sisters got here. He called the midwife again, and we just felt like we had really turned the corner. And so she said, why don't you come down and we can give you a check? And we got there, and she was standing at the door, and I was just like, oh man, I can't stand you. But at the same time, I'm really happy that you are listening to my voice and have helped me, because I think it was better for me to stay home. And she was like, okay, good. I had never met her at that point either, so it was kind of interesting. But you go ahead. She checked me, and what happened?
Yeah, so she knew probably right away, because Kelsey walked into the birth
Yeah, I was
center.
still standing up straight, so
she was just fine.
I was in pain, but yeah.
Yeah, so the midwife does the whatever she does with the gloves and
The cervix
stuff,
and
she goes, wow, the baby's head is right there. That is incredible. I've never felt a baby's head right there.
0+1 station.
But then she goes, but you're only 50% effaced.
No, I was like 85% effaced and 2 centimeters dilated.
Yeah, so you gotta get 100% effaced before you can even dilate further or something.
She basically said, like, you need to thin out before your body can start to intensify and open up. And you need to have this, like, really stronger contractions to open up. So, yeah.
By this point, by the time everything's said and done, like, it's like 11 o'clock or something at night, and so she says, all right, well, you're having this baby tomorrow morning. Like, there's no doubt about that, but you need to go home and rest.
Yeah, she offered to prescribe Ambien to me so that I could sleep. And I didn't end up taking that, but I did take, like, an over-the-counter Unisom. And I slept a little bit, but I kept waking up for contractions, so I was really drowsy. But at the same time, like, things were starting to progress because I was almost fully thinned out. The contractions were definitely getting stronger, and I remember waking up at 2 a.m. again, so it had been 24 hours of labor at that point, and it was super intense. I could not even begin to think how it could be worse at that point. Like, I was so in the zone, and like I couldn't think about anything else except for the pain. And I woke him up, and I was like, you need to start timing these. And he was just so exhausted at that point because he had been up just as much as I had, really just trying to help me and help me cope emotionally. And he was like, okay, I'm timing them. And I look over after like 30 minutes of like really intense contractions, and he was like just sitting there with no phone, no nothing, and we had like a contraction app. And I was like, what are you doing? Are you timing these? And he was like, in my head, I'm timing them. And I was like, no, we're not going to be able to go. You need to have a record of these contractions. We didn't even really do it. It just, at that point, it was so necessary to like get up and go, I think, because it was so intense. It took us like probably 15 minutes to even get into the car. I just couldn't walk. There was no way. Like, my breathing was so important. I couldn't talk to him. It was crazy. So the first car ride I thought was bad. The second car ride was impossible. Like, he was running red lights. We were beating like mad, people like bats out of hell. It was just crazy. And we got there. I was in a wheelchair, and they had the bathtub ready for me. It was like this perfect like ambiance in this room, and like we had worship music playing, and it was really a peaceful, calm experience. I started to labor in the tub a little bit, probably for about 45 minutes, and then they said, do you want to get up and go to the bathroom? So I got up, went to the bathroom, and started like having contractions in the bathroom, and I was like, I need to get back in the tub. This sucks. I'm not doing this outside of the tub. Even though I kind of felt like I wasn't gonna have a water birth, it was way better to have contractions in there than not. So I was like, we need to get back into the water, and it was so weird. Like, they're like magicians. They put like a stool out, and right in the middle of the room they have this hanging sling. It's like a rebozo, but it's like nailed to the ceiling. And he came in front of the sling, and I was like holding it, and they hoisted my leg up onto the stool, and I just had no idea what was even happening. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm about to have a contraction. Get me in the water. And they did not. They were like, no, do one right here. Like, this is going to help you progress. And it totally did. Like, so I had, I think, 2 contractions that way with one leg up. And then they were like, you need to switch sides. So I switched sides. And I was like, this is not happening. I need to get back in the tub. So I think that really helped me progress. They're experts at what they do for sure. But I think after about 10 minutes of more contractions in the tub, I really felt like I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I think I'm gonna die. I think I need to push. And they were like, man, like, you must have transitioned. You need to, like, let's check you in the bed. So they got me out. They checked me. She was like, you're at a 7. And I was like, what? A 7? Like, that is not possible. I feel like I am dying. Like, it was so painful at that point. And then things really started to kick off super fast. That's when I started vomiting. I like got my mom to come up to the front of the bed, and she held a bag for me, and I threw up probably like 6 times through contractions. And that was just, I mean, at that point, like, there wasn't even time for an epidural. There wasn't time for anything. Like, the baby was just, she was coming. And I was just in the most pain I could ever imagine. I thought I don't think there's anything more painful than transition. But it did go quick. It was like 30 minutes from 7 to 10. And once I got to 10, actually not even when I got to 10, they said, if you feel like you need to push, you should push. And this is really where I started to feel like I didn't know what I was doing, because the birth canal is so much longer than you could even dream of in your mind. Like, to push a baby through your body is like such a cool experience. And I'm talking about the pain, but it really was amazing. But at the same time, like, pushing her down was pretty intense. And I mean, it was nice to be able to do something with the pain, but I was like, wow, she's not even close to where she's supposed to be to come out. Like, it was just kind of interesting. So I started pushing, and my water had not broken yet at any point in this time. So they checked me again, and they were like, you need to push to break your water. So I pushed, and it literally like almost popped in the midwife's face. She like went back like that. I think Luke saw a really good view of that, and it was just, I don't know. I think, did you feel like you should laugh at that point? What are you doing? Oh my gosh. So the water popped, and that was a weird experience too, just a huge gush. But yeah, then I started pushing, and she was out in about 30 minutes, and it was the best experience ever. I'll link some videos so that you can see. I don't know if I'll put the voice in there because I was yelling a lot, pretty bad. But now Riley is 3.5 months old. Stop licking her. Don't lick her. And yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that she came out of my body. But yeah, I'm so glad that we got to experience it at the birth center. And do you have anything else you want to say about birth?
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, but I'm glad that we did it. We were definitely a team. He was really sore afterwards, so you could just tell that he was like helping me through every single contraction. And yeah, I think we felt really connected, way more than we ever have. It was a cool experience. So yeah, next baby, we'll get a real video. All right.